With so many changes to the game every season, it can be tough to not only maintain your skill level, but also make improvements day in and day out. What's up guys, it's Valued, and today we're talking about the most important things that every player should be focusing on improving on in Season 12. It can be a bit overwhelming to really hone in on what you should be working on, but by the end of this video, you will have a firm grasp on what you should improve on in Season 12 and exactly how to go about it. Let's start off with one of the most important concepts in Apex, third partying. With the Season 12 ranked map being Olympus and Kings Canyon, third partying is one of the most important concepts for you to understand fully in this season. These two maps are a third party haven, requiring you to be both good at finding third parties and avoiding them. To do either of these things, you need to be intimately familiar with each of the maps, as well as understand the status of the other players in every game. Your third-partying knowledge begins the moment that you leave the dropship. You should always be free-looking, mapping out where nearby squads are headed, what areas are really congested, and what areas seem to be a little bit less populated. This info right at the start of the game can help you paint a picture of where the action's going to be taking place before it happens at all. This does two very important things for you in-game. First, it allows you to plan out your squad's movement on the map. Did you drop onto solid loot and you're looking for some early KP? Well, now you should know where those enemy squads are nearby, and if you hear some fighting, you can make your way towards it and set yourself up for an early third party. Second, this allows you to avoid being third partied. If you have a good sense of where nearby enemy teams have landed, you can do a better job of predicting where you might get third partied from. Let's say you get into an early fight with a squad, but you also know that another team had an uncontested drop nearby you. Well, if you take this fight, you can bet that team is most likely going to look to head your way and get involved. While this knowledge doesn't have to keep you from taking the fight, it should change how you take it. Making sure to clean up enemies quickly, armor swapping, and then scouting for the push that you know is coming can greatly increase your chances of being ready for the push. And while this push may not even ever come, having this mindset has you always preparing for these possibilities and will just get you into the right habit of predicting enemy movements and always being ready for the next fight. Building off of this concept, having an understanding of the game state really lets you take smarter fights. Not only should you know where enemies are for the purpose of third parties, but this info also allows you to dictate your squad's plan for getting good ring position. Always playing for a survey beacon or making predictions about the zone's movement and combining that with your knowledge of likely enemy positions will have you staying alive so much more consistently in your games. While you obviously want KP in your games, this info does more than just let you push a team and take a fight. You should be using all this info to help you make decisions that make fights easier for your squad. Getting early ring position and holding a squad as they try to late rotate, or taking over the most powerful position in the zone early on are just a couple of examples of this. Instead of using the info you gather to just go take an even fight, work on finding ways to give yourself an advantage. Gathering this info effectively is a skill itself, but using it to its full potential is really where you start to level up. I've seen so many players do just this first step, getting a firm grasp of where enemy teams are, just to opt into a bad fight and die. Don't get too far ahead of yourself and get creative with how you're using the info you get, instead of just pushing any team that's nearby. And guys, whether you're struggling with handling third parties or just using the info you gather properly, there's no better next step than trying out the amazing coaches over at ProGuides.com. There, you can find top-level players trained to help you with any issue you have in your gameplay. You'd be surprised how much improvement you can make off of just one coaching session, so I recommend you guys to check it out in the top link in the description below. Alright guys, now it's impossible to talk about improving in Apex without discussing your mechanics. Aim and movement are the two primary pillars here, and these are parts of your game that you can always work on. Instead of just telling you to shoot dummies or practice your movement in the firing range, I want you to instead focus on the relationship between these two aspects of your mechanics. Your aim is what's going to get you the kills at the end of the day, and being able to land shots consistently at a variety of ranges with every weapon in the game is a skill that you should be training every day. The bottom line is that you can have the worst movement in the world, but if you have great aim, you're just going to get some knocks. For this reason, your aim should be a major focus of all your practice time, always looking to improve and stay dialed in over the course of all your sessions. As you guys know, there are plenty of players who don't have insane movement, but by having a solid shot and good positioning, they're able to become diamond, masters, and even pred. Don't let yourself fall prey to the mindset that you don't have great aim, but you're good at other aspects of the game. If you're already good at the aspects outside of your aim, and then you find yourself getting great aim, you're gonna level up so fast as a player. Now, moving on to your movement, this aspect of your mechanics is there to facilitate the rest of your game. Let me give you some examples. Need to get into a position quickly to find an angle on an enemy, or maybe you need to escape quickly and dodge some shots. Or maybe you're pushing someone with a shotty and want to peek in an unpredictable way. All of these things and more are what good movement allows you to do. You can be incredible at movement in Apex and still have a hard time climbing. But if you combine good movement with solid fundamentals elsewhere, you can evolve into a dominant player. Understanding that movement is a support mechanic that helps you to do everything you're trying to do on the map better and faster is important. If you're worried about hitting those sick tap strafes or wall bounces, but struggle to consistently hit your shots, these techniques often are going to hurt you more than they can help. This is why it's referred to as advanced movement. Not only are the mechanics a little bit more complicated, but you really should only use these techniques if you're an advanced player yourself. So guys, try to take this in and don't tunnel on mastering all the advanced techniques until you are feeling comfortable everywhere else. Next up, I want to talk about the meta. The two realizations you need to have as a player are that there are weapons in Legends that are just stronger than others, and there's going to be weapons that you are better with. Let's hone in on the weapons. A lot of players will write off a certain weapon because they haven't learned how to use it properly. With most weapons at Apex being powerful, you can do just fine being picky about what you run, but you will be much better off if you learn to use a wide variety of the weapons in the game. For example, here in Season 12, if the only shotty you're good with is the EVA 8, you are leaving a ton of power on the table. The Peacekeeper and Mastiff have a much higher damage output potential, but they're a bit tougher to use. This is just one example, but a good one that illustrates just how more effective you can be if you're willing to master the best weapons of their class. Now, while it's important to have a weapon pool that you're looking to run, you've got to be careful that you aren't avoiding powerful options just because of your discomfort. Confront that feeling early, learn the weapon's recoil, get some practice on the gun, and you will see your performance and flexibility in-game skyrocket. And oh yeah guys, don't think we forgot about Legend Pick. This can heavily dictate your playstyle and options in every game. Now look, it's important to be comfortable on your Legend so you can make the most of their kit. However, is that kit you're using what best fits you, the map, and the meta? Here in Season 12 on Olympus and then Kings Canyon pretty soon, we have a third-party heavy aggressive meta. Shotties and other close-range weapons are really powerful with the stable ARs remaining strong at their respective ranges. So think to yourself, what kind of Legend fits this sort of environment? And which ones am I already comfortable with or interested in learning? There are a variety of ways that a Legend pick could be suboptimal for your performance. Maybe you're playing a defensive Legend like Caustic or Watson, but you're naturally an aggressive player, and you're trying to do too much on these picks. Or maybe you're an Octane, but don't feel comfortable getting up in enemies' faces and chasing them down. It's alright if you have a specific way you like to play the game, but it's important to match your Legend to that style and try to play a Legend that's strong in the current meta. Now, trust me guys, there's nothing wrong with one-tricking a Legend, just know that no matter what that pick is, there will be an ebb and flow eventually of how powerful they find themselves in every season. And this may lead to you having worse performance just because your favorite pick doesn't fit the meta at certain times. Now guys, let me say something. I've thrown a ton of info your way. Don't feel like you have to focus on all these things at once. If you pick one part of your game and dedicate your time to it until you see tangible improvements, you'll begin to see your game improving day after day. It takes top players a very long time to train their mechanics, decision making, and preferences to best suit the game, regardless of the meta shifts. And if you take this top-down approach to your games, you'll find yourself improving at a fundamental level. Your goal should be to broaden your understanding of the game, broaden your in-game ability, and therefore open up your gameplay to a ton more options that you never had before. So look guys, if you're looking to improve here in Season 12, this video has plenty of spots that you can get started on. No matter what your weaknesses or strengths are, be self-critical of your game and really hone in on what you need to improve on. If you don't know what that is, consider getting coaching like I said, it really does help. Anyway guys, that's it for me. It's been your boy Valued. Make sure to let me know in the comments down below which aspect of your game you're going to be trying to improve, and I'll see you guys in the next one.